Anything says he's driving. Ozarks is in here. Awesome, awesome. Thank you guys for showing up. I appreciate it. It's always fun to open up the live, and before you've even done anything cool, people are already there. It's fun to have that type of community. Yeah, just got done school for the day. Got out of school at 2:20, and now I'm here at 3. We're going to be doing some archery practice. Um, I'm not like the world's greatest archer. I have always done a little bit of it, and I've known a little bit about it. But recently I actually acquired a bow, so I've been doing a lot more practice, getting pretty decent at it, but there's always more to learn, so we're just going to practice and see what we can do. Raptor Will is in here as well. Yeah, I also, among my typical archery equipment, I also have some paracord, super bright paracord, which is interesting, but it was like 99 cents, so I got some. I'm going to try sometime in this live to set up a line across some trees down there and hang the target from the line. It's not the greatest quality target, and it's already having some issues with being a little soft in some areas, and the arrows kind of go through. And I feel like instead of having it pinned up against a tree where there's not a lot stopping it from just, it just stops moving, so that way the arrow goes right through. I feel like if there was a little bit of like give to it, the arrows might be able to have a little bit better performance there and not go all the way through. So I'm going to see if I can hang it from a line at some point and see if that makes any difference. But that'll be in a little bit. I'm going to set everything up first, and I wanted to show that part of the process. So I didn't start the live after I got everything set up. I wanted to do it on live stream. I do apologize if my speech is a little bit weird. I got my wisdom teeth out a week ago today, and I'm obviously doing okay, but sometimes speaking is a little bit tough. Mechanical mind. Well, I'm going to be a mechanical engineer, so I guess that's a good thing. So we got the bow right here. It's a recurve bow, not a compound bow. It's a recurve bow with a shelf. So it's kind of like the in-between. If you're going super, super traditional archery, you'd have a recurve bow with no shelf, and you use your hand as a shelf. And the kind of modern versions are crossbows and compound bows. So this is kind of an in-betweener type bow. It's a recurve, but it does have that shelf to help you out. I have a bow stringer. It's not an actual bow stringer. It's one I made out of paracord, but it works just the same. I'll show you guys how to use that to get the bow bent and strung up. So you got a big loop and you got a small loop. Johnny Sins, how's it going? There's the small loop. The small loop you're gonna put over the end to where your bowstring's already in the notch, and that smaller loop will help keep it in place. And then the big loop, so that way it has enough room to slide, you're going to put on this side. Raphael Edit. Hey, Johnny Sins and Raphael Edit are new to the channel. If you're liking what you're seeing, hit the like button, subscribe button. It is highly appreciated. I do outdoor stuff, camping, slingshots, fishing, bushcraft, all that sort of stuff. So if you're interested in that, you're in the right place. Johnny, big fan, sir. There you go. All right, so if you're not familiar with recurve bows, they're called recurves because although it's bent this direction already, you're actually going to bend it the other way. That bend back is what gives it that extra power. Are you trying to find the Blair Witch or something? Not really. However, if I was to find the Blair Witch, I guess I could pick up one of these sticks. Am I right in saying wood kills witches? Is that how that works? I'm not much into the witch and warlock lore, I guess, but I guess I could shoot a stick at it with the bow and take it down. So here's what you do. You got it like this, over the ends of the bow. You're gonna stand in that loop. My feet are in the loop, and you're gonna pull up on it and slowly shimmy these loops down on each side until you get the bow bent to the point you can get your string on. So I actually need to do this so that's on the right side. There you go. Slide a little bit more over there. And then, boom, just like that. We got the bow strung up. As you can see, it's now bent. That gets the tension in the bow. The bow stringer is nice, so that way you don't have to do any like contortionist moves to try and get the bow bent and get your string on there. It's also nice because if in the really unfortunate scenario that your bow breaks, you're pulling down in a way, meaning it's not going to snap up into your face and hurt you real bad. So that's a good thing. Let's read some chat here. It looks amazing now. Oh, was the quality not good? Sorry about that. I guess it needed a second to connect. Preparing for the apocalypse? No, I just like the outdoors, but I guess if it comes, I'd be one of the people who's probably ready to handle it. "49 people. Yeah, I usually get a lot right when I open it up, and then it kind of levels out, but it's always nice to get some new faces in here, see some new people. Thanks for coming in, everybody. ¿De qué es el arco? I know all the first words of that. I don't know what arco is. I imagine it has something to do with the bend. So the bow. Of what is the bow? It's wood. So maybe that's the answer to that question. How many kilograms is this bow? Well, it's 40 pounds. And if I'm correct, there's 2.4 pounds for every kilogram. So it's like a, give or take, it's a, we'll call it like an 18 kilogram bow. 18 kilogram. Did I make it myself? I did not. This is actually from my grandpa. This was made, I believe, sometime in the 60s. I think it was 64 was when this bow was made, and it's still going strong today. I had to do a lot of work to get the dust and grime off of it, but yeah, it was gifted to me by my grandfather, who obviously can't use it anymore, and I've been having some fun with it. Archery HCL, awesome. Vintage, indeed. All right, so the next piece of equipment we're gonna get here is, first of all, there's this, which is an arm guard. It's not necessary, it's just sometimes the bow slaps your arm and it can hurt a little bit, but I've got long sleeves on, so I'm not gonna use that. But what I am gonna use, what's my grandfather's name? His name's John, and that's my middle name. I inherited his middle name. So we have a glove. You're gonna pull on the string with your fingertips, and it can tire out your fingertips real quick. I can do it bare hand. Most people who shoot bows can, but it's always nice to have a little bit of extra cushion, and that means that you can shoot for a little bit longer, get a little bit more practice in before your hand starts to tire out. What does pound of the bow define? Okay, so when it's right here, obviously you're not putting any tension on it, and when you draw it back, you have to put tension on it. When it's at its full draw, I'm pulling back 40 pounds of force. That's what the draw strength is, or the pound of the bow. So this is a 40-pound bow. When I'm back here, I'm pulling on it 40 pounds. Can we hunt with it? You definitely can. This one's a little bit light to hunt like deer, but I guess if you're a good enough shot, you could do like squirrels or groundhogs or anything like that. You could definitely do with something like this if you're a good enough shot. So yeah, all right, it is now time to set up the target. This is right behind my house. My house is right up over there, so sometimes it likes to connect to my Wi-Fi. I turn that off in hopes that when I go down there I don't lose signal, but sometimes when I go down to the end of my little range here, I lose signal. So we're gonna take you down there and see what happens. Slingshot and bow, you fire how much meter? It fire longer than the slingshot. It's really hard to tell, actually. I do shoot a slingshot, but the projectiles on them are so small that they go a really, really long way. I'm not sure which one goes further. If I had to guess, I would say the slingshot might go a little bit further, but they're pretty comparable. This is a lot more powerful, but the projectile, the arrow, is a lot heavier than the slingshot. So it's a give and take. I think they shoot both about the same, which is quite a ways. At least 2 or 3 football fields. If I just shot it at a 45-degree angle and tried to get it to go as far as possible, it'd go pretty far. All right, let's go get the target set up in our basic format. And then later on, if we want to hang it from a line to help preserve the life of the target a little bit, we can. Still got 8 people in here, 14 thumbs up. Thank you guys for coming in. Lots of new faces in here today. So there's just a little tree, and there's a little branch that I hang it on, and basically just like that. It's about 70-ish feet, 65, 70 feet from where I shoot the bow from, to give you perspective of how far I'm shooting it. And then get that right there. Move this branch for you. There you go. Do I have firearms? Shelly is asking. I do not. I'm not old enough to own one. I have used them before in a very safe setting. YouTube actually doesn't really like it when you use firearms, especially live, because they had an incident with that before. It's really, really important to be safe, and especially while doing it live. There's not a lot of, if something bad happens, you can't just cut it out because it's going out there right away. So that's not something I'd ever really do live. I do not hunt. The most I've ever done is do some invasive species removal and stuff like that from properties with my slingshot. I would like to deer hunt at some point, just to say I've done it and have that experience as an outdoorsman. I don't think it's something I'd ever get into. I'm a really, really big fisherman. If you check out all the videos on my channel, you'll see that. I want to try hunting, but I don't think I'll ever really get into it. All right. Arrows. These are pretty cheap arrows. They have what are called field points on them, and field points are mainly for practice. They just go in and they don't have anything to keep them in, so they come right back out when you pull on them. They're really good for practicing on targets and stuff. Pretty cheap arrows, but they work just fine. Gonna take a couple shots. I think you can see my target down there. Yep, right there. All right, we're gonna see what we can do. Probably a little bit rusty, haven't shot in about 2 weeks or so, because a week of that I've been laid up with my wisdom teeth removal. But yeah, I typically, as I've said earlier in the live, I don't know how many of you were in here, but I'm fairly new to practicing archery consistently. So there's 2 methods to aim. One of them is you use what's called the gap method. You kind of know how far you are, and you know how like high or low above the center of the target you want to put the tip of your arrow when you're looking down. And one of them's intuitive, which is where you kind of just point it at it. You don't look at where the tip of the arrow actually is placed in your line of sight with your eye. You just kind of look down the arrow and point it at the middle of the target. Right now I'm practicing my intuitive, meaning I'm not really going to be aiming. I'm just going to be making sure it looks like it's lined up and then letting it go. So we're going to see how we do with that. Traditional shooting is an art. It is indeed, and I'm still learning. I'm willing to learn along with you guys. That's why the channel is called Mission Discover, because everything I'm learning or have learned, I like to share with you guys. Don't like to hide the learning process, because that's important too. All right, let's see what we can do. So that one was low. That actually came off the string weird. I bumped it with my finger. My aiming was good, my release was bad. That was low. Let's try again. The first couple shots are always the worst. So that one I hit, and you could hear the string slap on my coat. So that one hit high right. We'll go look at it in a minute, but I did hit the target. That one was really good, very centered, but a little bit low. As I said earlier, we're shooting from about 70 feet. That one, very good up and down, a little bit to the left, which means I probably turned it a little bit. It's much easier when you're shooting a bow like this to stay on point left to right than it is up and down. So if I shot to the left or the right, that's a form issue. If I shoot up or down, that's a much, it's not like any better of a thing because you're still going to miss the target if it's a small target, but it's more understandable to miss high or low than it is left or right. I don't know if that made any sense. Hopefully it did. Was my grandfather a hunter? He did hunt quite a bit. He did mostly bird hunting. So, Dog and I. How's it going, Dog and I outdoors? Anything still in here? Wow, you aim and shoot so fast. That's a great point, Ozarks. As I mentioned, I'm doing the intuitive shooting style currently. It's typically a little bit less consistent if you don't have enough practice. It takes more practice to get consistent. But when you shoot, it's a lot quicker to get the shot off. You don't have to think about it as much, which is why it's called intuitive. Ozarks Woodsman is in. Thanks for coming in. How long have you been shooting? Well, the first time I ever shot the bow, I was about 10 or 11, and I am now 17, going to be 18 this upcoming year in April. So quite a few years. The first time I started shooting like consistently multiple times a week was September or so. There's no cams and let off like a compound, right? That is correct. It's the hardest point it is to draw is right at the end of the draw. It's 40 pounds right at the end. Whereas on a compound, it would go increase, and then let off, and it'd be about, I don't know, half as much of the draw weight when you're at full draw. So that way you can kind of sit there and get your aim set before you let go. Really cool technology. You could definitely hear the string slap on that one. The fact that I'm string slapping that much means that I'm probably not straightening out as much as I should. So that's actually good feedback. I am 8. I went deer hunting, I assume you mean, and got a big buck. That is awesome. I'm glad your family was able to give you that experience. Super cool to experience that type of stuff young. If you're someone who likes outdoor stuff, especially the family dynamic of outdoor adventures, go check out Anyfin. Anyfin is possible. They're in the chat right now. Feel free, some of my moderators, to drop Anyfin's link. So that way Shelly can go check that out, because that sounds like the type of stuff you do anyway. 16 people still in here. Thank you guys for coming in. So that one was high. I know why it was high. I started to look at the tip of the arrow instead of looking down it and doing my intuitive shot. Definitely am a little bit rusty. My grouping on this set of shots is not going to be very good, but that's okay. We're learning. My uncle and grandfather were hunters, and I want to be one. That sounds awesome. It's always good to have that family connection over something. There you go. That one's darn near a bullseye. Let's work on reducing that string slap a little bit, which means I need to probably open up this way a little bit more. There you go, bullseye, and no string slap. That was a good shot. It's hard to chat and shoot at the same time. You're doing a great job. Thanks, Ozark Woodsman. It did sound good. There was absolutely zero string slap on that. And I got a bullseye. That was the best shot of the day by far. That was another bullseye. Little bit of string slap, but 2 bullseyes in a row is always a good feeling to have. Got 3 more arrows. Yep, the string slap is definitely not as much as it was. As I said earlier, these arrows are pretty cheap. One thing I don't like is these field points are screw-in. They're threaded, and they don't stay in very well, and I have to tighten them up a lot. Fishhead Videos, Ray is in. Shelly Torres says, I shot a 22. Well, that's very interesting. If that's generic, that makes sense. If you were using that to hunt your deer, I'd be very impressed if you somehow took down a deer with 22. That would be quite impressive. That was low. I could have told you that was low right before I let it go. That was a bad one. The good thing is, when it goes low, I'm like, yep, I understand it. It's not confusing to me that I missed. That was a lot of string slap, and that's actually why I missed, because it got caught on the coat and didn't straighten all the way before the bow, or before the arrow came off the bow. Is your target working the way you thought it would? I haven't put it up on the string yet. I'm probably going to do that here in a minute or so. Somehow you hit. Yeah, they're not very powerful 22s, but hey man, I don't have anything to make me not believe you. That's very impressive though. I stuck it in a piece of wood. That's not very good. Ashley B, I think you're just bad. Well, I am a little bit rusty. Usually I shoot a couple times a week, but I haven't shot for at least a week and a half. I got my wisdom teeth taken out last week, and I haven't shot since then. This is my first time back, so I'm definitely a little bit rusty, and I'm new to it anyway, so it's not a great scenario to go off for a week and a half or 2 weeks right after you start shooting archery. I think I'm doing pretty well. If you think I'm bad, then maybe you have some stuff that you could teach me, and I'd love to learn. Ozark says, I've been bow hunting for many years. I have a Black Widow recurve and a Howat, I don't know how to say that, custom longbow. I love archery. Sweet. It sounded cool going in the woods. Well, thanks, Ozarks. And Bob says I'm doing awesome. I don't know if I'd call it awesome, but I don't think I'm doing terrible. So we will go see. That my last shot was pretty terrible though. I'll tell you that much. 50 yards out. Whoa, sorry about that. Got caught on something. 50 yards out, not quite. I'm about maybe 25 yards out, something like that. So here's our, move you a little bit closer. Here's our target. Let's see if it clears up a little bit. So these two are both in the bullseye. Let's pull those out. There's 1, 2, that's 2 in the bullseye. This one was a very bad shot. I missed the entire target by like 3 inches. Everyone has a bad shot now and then, and as I said, I'm pretty rusty right now. This one hitting the blue ring. This one hitting the blue ring. There you go. This one on the inner red. This one on the inner red. This one on the inner red. How many arrows we got now? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we gotta get 4 more. Stewart is in. How many of you got on the bullseye? Just 2 so far. I'm a little bit rusty, as I told some other people in chat. I haven't shot for at least a week and a half, which is not great, but that's because I got my wisdom teeth out and was kind of stuck not doing much for a little bit. But I'm doing pretty well now. All right, so I see 2 of them. Those are the 2 that went low. They went low by maybe an inch or so. They just came right underneath the target, so they're right there. There's those 2. They were about 6 feet beyond the target, which means I missed maybe an inch, half an inch low. Still isn't great. I'm not very happy when I hit the outer ring of the target, so missing is even worse. 2 bullseyes is a good start for a baboon. So for anyone not familiar, I pulled a prank on my good friend Stuart, and now because of the prank and his retaliation to it, I'm nicknamed Baboon Mission Discover, something like that. It's his way of getting me back, which I guess is fair. I have to catch a fish on one of the flies that he tied before I can drop my baboon nickname. So we'll have to do that at some point. So I see another one. back in here. There should be 2 of them back in here. One's right here. Right there. You can see it. Right there. I'll go grab that. This last one might be a little bit hard to find. That's the one that went way off course because I had my arm bent and the string slapped it before the arrow even came off and went crazy. So we'll have to see where that one is. I don't really know. Oh, you were 50 yards out when you shot the deer. That makes sense. Sorry for the misunderstanding. Yeah, so that was the one I'm missing is one of our first shots of the day. It hit the tree kind of sideways because it came off the bow all wrong and flung somewhere. I don't know where it is currently. Just for the sake of time, I'm probably going to look for that after the live is over. Awesome. All right, we'll pick up these arrows and then we'll get back to shooting a couple more. We'll leave the target on the tree for one more round of 11 shots now. And then we'll try and see if we can put it up on a line for the set after that. All right, so you can still see our target right there. Give it a couple more shots, see if we do any better. So I guess 4 of them didn't even hit the target. By my standards, that's pretty bad. So we'll see if we can do better than that. So that one hit the target, but it was low and to the right. My cousin and I were shot in the leg with an arrow when we were kids. Uh-oh. That was it's not something we want to do here. I set up this range for about 1/3 of a mile down that way. There's nothing but woods, and there's like a little hill, so it hit the mound of dirt before it went more than maybe 200 feet. So I set it up as safe as I possibly could. There you go. That one's in the blue circle. That one definitely hit the tree behind it, which is another reason I don't like having it on the tree as much as I thought I would initially, because when it gets stuck in the tree, it's quite difficult to wiggle them out of there without snapping anything. You got to be super careful. So having it suspended might be a little bit better. Do you shoot a compound? I have never shot a compound, actually. I know a lot of people who have them, and it wouldn't be very hard for me to say, hey, can I try it? But I never have shot a compound, so. Unless you're talking to fish head. Well, I answered it regardless, so there you go. That one was high, but still hit the target. My grouping's really good, but it's a little bit high. Do me a favor, can you put a picture of a YouTuber on the target? If you're gonna ask to put Bob there, the answer is no. Actually, in fact, I'm not putting anybody there. We gotta be kind and respectful. Even if we don't like people, we gotta be able to work with them. Everyone's people. Everyone's people. That was not good grammar. Everyone, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Everyone is a person and people are valuable. Traditional archery is the best way to learn. I agree. It's definitely harder than, a lot of the hunters who use compound bows make it seem. Do you the hunter KG? I'm not sure what that means, Shelly. You might have to give me a little bit of a elaboration. I was actually thinking a picture of me. I wouldn't do that, Stuart. I wouldn't do that to my friend Mr. Whisperer. bullseye. There was a lot of string slap on that, but it was a bullseye, so I guess that's okay. Yeah. I thought it might have been just high of the bullseye, but yeah, it's in. It's in like the top half of the bullseye. That one was just low of the bullseye. What's the temp? I believe it's like 35 right now. Yeah, 35, something like that. Ray, where's Ray? Ray, what's the temperature around your neck of the woods? Let everyone know. Boast about your Florida temperatures. I think that's another bullseye. I'm still getting a lot of string slap, which I'm not happy with, but the fact that I'm getting bullseyes is okay. Head honcho, what a flex, he says, and Robin Hood aim. Well, I'm not shooting from super far. I appreciate it. I would love to get to Robin Hood aim, but, you know, that's why we practice. Or could you do a picture of a deer? That I could do. Not right now. I'd have to go to the house and print it and do lots of things, but you'll have some string slap with that jacket sleeve. You can put a sock over your sleeve, and that will help stop it. Yeah, I mean, I think this is the first time I've shot with a jacket. I've shot with a sweatshirt, which obviously doesn't make that much noise when you hit it. This is quite puffy. That's a good point, but still, it's good to take mental note of that and make sure you're having good form. My nephew wants a broccoli picture. He's a YouTuber, Shelly Torres says. No, I've never heard of him. I will try and take a look at that if I remember to do so. And then I can get back to you at some point if you stick around and continue to watch the channel. So that one, okay, I see where it went. That one, if I'm not mistaken, actually went through the very upper edge of the target. So I hit the target, but it was so barely in there that it went through like the top corner, hit the branch of the tree and deflected down. Not a good shot by any means. I'm still going to count it as hitting the target for my personal like records and trying to figure out how I can get better. But yeah, it didn't stick in the target, of course. Best bow aim ever. Not quite. I appreciate it, but that would be a very, very big stretch. I'm practicing to make it better. I don't think it'll ever be the best. Try turning your elbow out a little more. That could help with that. Yep, very good point. A lot of it is obviously not an excuse, just a explanation. Since I'm turned over my shoulder towards the camera, I'm kind of like this, and your chest, kind of like when you're playing golf or doing any of that sort of thing, your chest should be completely 90 degrees to where you're shooting at, with a little bit of a bend in your elbow, just a tad, and then you kind of just turn and open up a little bit. But because I'm turned this way, my arm is very much in the line of the path that I'm shooting, so it makes it tougher. I really shouldn't be like this. I should be like this, but that's kind of how it goes. Yeah, the trouble talking after the wisdom teeth surgery is still there a little bit tonight. Shelly says, I also like the bow. I do as well. It was super nice of my grandpa to give it to me. He could have just sold it, but he gave it to me instead, and I very much appreciate it. So there you go, turn that way. And there was very minimal string slap when I actually turned the correct direction. So there you go. Proof in the pudding. It works. How old are you? I am 17 and I turn 18 in 4 months. There you go. All right. 11 shots, all of them hit the target. One of them was on the very edge and came through. So that was not a great shot, but all of them actually did hit the target. That's a lot better than our first one, where only 75% of our shots hit the target. So, are you in high school? I am indeed in high school. One more year and then go to college for mechanical engineering at Penn State. Unless something drastic changes, I'll be going to Penn State. So, all right, let's go take a look at our shots down there. Put down the bow. All right, here we go. So our one that deflected is sitting right there. It hit. I wonder if we can see it. Yeah, kinda. It didn't even hit the front of the target. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it, but it actually hit right there. So for all intents and purposes, I missed the target and just deflected kind of off the back edge of the target right there. Went through, hit this piece of wood. There's a gouge in it where it hit right there. And then it deflected off and it's sitting right there. So not a great shot, but I guess technically it still hit it by the ever so slightest margin. You seem very self-disciplined and patient. That's a good thing for learning. Indeed, I try and learn as best as I could. And I know from experience that takes a lot of failure to actually learn properly. So there you go. All right, let's take a look at this. We got 2 in the bullseye this time. So there's that one. That was in the bullseye. And then there's this one, also in the bullseye. We got 2 of them in the inner red circle, and then a lot of them grouped right here in the outer blue circle, which means my grouping and consistency was very good, but my consistency, I was very consistent, but consistently in the wrong spot. So I had 4 of them within 3 inches of each other right here. So that one's stuck in the wood a little bit. There you go. 2, 4. Those were all right there. Shelly says my brothers are joining. I imagine that means joining high school. So you got some brothers about my age, that seems like. Maybe a little bit younger. If they're joining, they're 2 or 3 or 3 or 4 years younger than me. I don't know why I'm struggling with math. I guess my last class of the day is AP Calculus, so I'm kind of mathed out already. And then let's go grab that one that deflected right there. Right there. There you go. What's my channel's name? Join the chat. Can I do that? I don't know. I don't know if I can chat while going live, but if you, it seems like a strange question, but that's okay. I'm willing to answer anyway. If you look right down below, you can click on my little logo and go to my channel and see all the rest of the stuff I have. So that may not be what you're asking. I'm a little bit confused by the question, but if you're asking about what my channel is, it's right down below the live feed. My brothers are joining the chat. Awesome. That makes more sense. Channel is Mission Discover. That's the name of it if they're looking. So there you go. Got 11 arrows back in hand. Gonna try a little bit more. Actually, I said I was gonna go change it to trying to hang it up on the line. Let's try that. So I'm gonna use our super bright paracord right here and see what we can do with that. Let's take off our gloves for a minute. 11 people in here. Looks like 19 thumbs up. Thank you guys. I really do appreciate it. I especially love seeing some new faces in here, meeting some people. I really love the community aspect, especially this being a channel focused on learning and just having cool outdoor experiences. Being able to hear other people's stories and watch other people and learn from them is always fun stuff. So we got our bright paracord. I think what I'm gonna try and do is there's this tree right here and there's one over there. Let's turn the camera a little bit. Anyway, yeah, right there, that little guy. I think I'm gonna try and string up something between those, pretty high up, maybe. I don't know. How high are we thinking of that going? It's the real question. I think what I'm gonna do, this first thing I'm gonna do, is tie a loop on the end of this, and then that way I can cinch it up. So I'm gonna do a loop over here, loop knot like this. All right, get that nice and tight. So now we have a loop on the end of our line. How long do we think that is? That will probably be enough. Take out the knife. Kaiser original. As always, anytime I bring out a knife on the channel, I gotta say it just because YouTube wants to make sure everybody's safe. Knives are only meant to be used as tools. They're not to hurt anybody. And make sure you have first aid nearby. And if you're young, make sure people know you're using it. So, I'm gonna use this. Gonna cut our paracord right there. And then we should be able to rock and roll with this. What's my next outing going to be? Well, I told you this a little bit when I was in your live chat. At some point here, this burn ban in my area of Pennsylvania is gonna lift. And I have made a pot with clay I dug up from the bottom of the lake. And I really want to go out there and see if I can fire that and turn it into an actual functional pot. It's dry and hard, but you have to fire it to get it to be waterproof and all that. So I really want to try that. I'm going to go out and make a campfire, see if I can get that fired. And then we got a couple more fishing trips that I'm going to try before the end of the year. And yeah, we'll see where we go from there. I have a really, really fun video planned to come out. Probably I'm going to do it is either on the 30th of December or on the 1st of January. I might put up a poll about what you guys would like to see. I filmed it on December 31st into January 1st of last year. And this year, I guess, the new year last year is when I filmed it. Super, super cool video about brook trout fishing, native brook trout fishing. It might be the favorite video I've ever edited. So if it performs well, I'll be really, really happy. It's a good one. And I'm going to release that right at the end of the year. I'm going to see if I can get up an EDC video in the meantime, but I'm pretty busy right now. We'll kind of see what happens. Shelly says, I subscribed. I really appreciate it. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to wrap this line around the tree and then feed it back through this loop and cinch it tight. And then we're going to take the tag end all the way out to this tree and tie it off so that way we can have a line coming across. Yeah. And then, I don't know, I'll see what I can do to hang it up from there. We dropped 3 people in here. Usually we have a lull in here, but I thank you guys for sticking with me. I think what I'm going to do here is I think I'm going to make it like super, super easily detachable. That's my brother on the tablet. Awesome. Do you pee the bed? All right, we're gonna take that one out. Yeah. Ozarks is correct. That's not necessary to talk about, so we're just not gonna talk about that. So what I'm gonna do is on this tree, I'm gonna take this and I'm going to tie it around there and make a loop that I can tie it off to. Because tying string to string means I can really cinch it up instead of tying around the tree where there might be a little bit of slack. This will make it really easy to make sure the line's super tight across here. So I'm gonna tie a loop over on this tree here at around the same height. So that'd be like right here. So see what we can do with this. All right, if you want to see someone ban you, I'm not going to ban you. Everyone makes mistakes. You're good. Where'd you get that bow from? It was given to me by my grandfather. He can't shoot it anymore and knows I like this type of stuff, so he gifted it to me. So Ozarks is really good at this type of stuff. Ozark's great adventure. He does a lot of this kind of bushcrafty, let's build a shelter type stuff, and he knows a lot about knots and building stuff like this. So if you're interested in what I'm doing right now, make sure you go check out Ozarks. But what I did is I tied it around the tree using a square knot with a little stopper knot on the back of it. And then I'm going to tie a loop knot in this, and then I can cinch this up to the loop knot and connect those, because connecting string to string is really, really strong, whereas connecting to the tree isn't as easy to do. So now I got a loop on there, and then I can take this and cinch that up as tight as I want, and then tie it off. So I should probably put a little bit more tension in there. Because this is paracord, the knot should come undone pretty easy, which means if I want to take this down, I can. Carter Gaming, hey, what's up? Not much, trying to get this line set up so that way I can hang the target that's sitting right there up from this, which I think might be a little bit better than the situation we've got right now. What's going on with you? All right, let's see how this works out. We got the target on here. This knot is pretty loose, so that way if I want to take it down, I can. Get that through there. That's what I was kind of afraid of. This stuff, this synthetic ribbon type stuff, is so loose that the knots come out really easy. I'm kindly tall. Well, actually I'm not. That's kind of just the way the camera looks like. I'm actually exactly the average male height in the US, which is 5'9", so I'm not that tall. What is good, legends? Brad is in. Let's try to do a different type of knot, which I think might be a little bit better. I'm going to tie this up in the same sort of knot I used earlier, which is square knot with the stopper knot, and see how that works. Synthetic string and rope like paracord is actually really hard to tie stuff with because it's so slick that the knots come out really easily. I can't tie a tie, says Carter Gaming. I barely know how to tie a tie. I can, but not very frequently do I have to do it, and I really have to think about it when I do so. So don't worry, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. Right. This will definitely stay. It will just be harder to get out. The knot will be harder to undo if I ever have to undo it for any reason. So I can hang it like this, but obviously I don't want that much tension, which means I gotta tie it while it's tight, which is somewhat difficult to do. I probably could have used a bowline knot for this, if you know what that is, but I just decided not to. So we're gonna have to work with what we've got right now. That's better. I like that. It's hanging low, but not too low. Yeah, I'm okay with that. It's kind of at the same level. Let that truck pass. It's kind of at the same level that it was when it was hanging on the tree. So it'll twist a little bit and go like that a little bit when I hit it, but I think that will make my target last a little bit longer. Want me to come hold it, Nolan? You know what, Brad? I feel like just there's something inside of me that feels like something could go wrong, you know? Just something. I don't know what it is that could go wrong if you did that, but I just have a feeling. Nerio Gaming, what is up? We're doing a little bit of shooting the bell. We just got it set up in the target that is set up in a new configuration. Taut line would work great for that. Square knot, just push it into itself. It'll loosen up very easily. Yeah, that's the original square knot is what I was trying to do, but I put an extra stopper knot in on one of the lines so that way it won't pull apart. Earlier, that slick paracord stuff and any kind of synthetic nylon string comes apart real easily. I tied a fantastic square knot and you pull on it and it just slowly slides apart. So I put in a stopper knot so that way that won't happen. All right, let's get back to shooting and see if this target configuration works any better for us. It's just going to end up being right in the side of the screen there. Nerio, my name is Nolan, and I do lots of outdoor stuff here on YouTube. I was thinking of doing my first fishing live stream on Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday next week. I'll likely be doing some trout fishing in northern New Jersey. Well, if I can, I will try and catch it. That's super exciting. Carter Gaming says, what am I having for supper? I have no idea, actually. Yeah, I don't know. What's today? Thursday? Yeah, I don't know. We like to mix it up in my family, so it's not very predictable. I think Carter's asking, is it cold? Ain't it cold? Yeah, it is cold a little bit. That's not how to pronounce my name. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. It's definitely hard to figure out how to pronounce people's name just by looking at their username. If you have any way to try and get me to pronounce it right, go ahead and I'll try my best, but not meaning anything disrespectful by it. You live with your mom? Yeah, I'm only 17. So yeah, I think most people my age still live with their parents. It's Spanish, so is it nerillo? Like amarillo, like the end of yellow? I don't know, something like that. I am having pizza, says Carter. Pizza's always good. Lots of different types. It's really hard to be upset with pizza because there's something for everybody. Close. I'll take close. All right, we'll see what we can do here. Okay, so it spun a lot when I hit it. Did you see that? We might have to rethink how we're gonna do this. Yeah, I don't think this is gonna work. We might have to do a little bit of experimentation with this. Because it just spun around. Can you show your mom? No, I'm not gonna do that. She's, first of all, not home. Second of all, when people ask you to show your family members on a live stream, it's usually, sometimes it can be a little bit weird. I'm not suggesting you are being weird, but some people are, so I'm gonna try and stay away from that. All right, we'll take another shot. I could have held that one. It would have been okay. Right. So nobody's gonna be like, oh, you're lying, you didn't hit that, because every time I hit it, it'll just spin around in a big circle. It's like a bite alarm, but it just is it's a hit alarm. It just spins around. Do you have a dog? I do not. We have 2 cats. I love dogs. Dogs are great, but we do not own one. I like both dogs and cats. So that one I hit pretty much dead middle, like an inch to the right of center, and it still spun around. So it's definitely not going to work, even if I hit it dead center. Like, the only way it won't spin is if I hit it dead center. Carter Gaming says, I hate school. Hey man, I understand it. I've been through 13 years of it now. And, you know, there's things about it that aren't good, but you definitely learn stuff, and there are parts of it that are good. I'm not saying all of it's good, but there are parts of it that are good, and try and be happy with it, because you don't really have an option to not do it. So try and be happy with it, and work through it and see what you can do. Work hard, and should get you some good results. We'll shoot one more at this target setup, and then we're just gonna move it back to the position it was in before, because this is obviously not going to work super well. There you go, spinning again. Donald Edwards, we got this question earlier. I don't really hunt. I've done, like, you know, there's been, we'll call it rats or something on the property up at our lake house, or there's been some invasive birds that we needed to, like, scare away, and I've done some of that with my slingshot, but I've never really gone hunting. I would like to do some deer hunting. at some point in my life, just because it's a really common thing to do as an outdoor enthusiast, and I want to have that experience under my belt. I don't think it'll be ever something that I get into as much as I'm into fishing. Yeah, I'd like to try it at some point. Carter Gaming says, do you believe in Santa? I do not. Hey man, I'm not here to tell anybody I think this or I think that, because that's a choice that everybody has to make. And I think that, you know, at this time of the year, it's everyone can be happy and can just do their thing. So if you believe in Santa, good. If you don't, good. No need to cause arguments or try and ruin anybody's fun over anything. Just let it spin. It'll help you anyway, or give you a minute to get ready for the next shot. That's a good point. But it spins, like, if I hit it more than maybe 2 or 3 inches off center, it spins for like 2 minutes. Maybe not 2 minutes, at least a minute. You would be surprised. I was 100% fishing at 1.2. I think you would enjoy the one with nature aspect. Yeah, no, I mean, I think I'd enjoy it. I think the problem for me is that, especially with, like, obviously I'm only 17, but especially with the type of future and thing that I have planned for what I'm going to do for the rest of my life, I think honestly it'd be hard to get enough time to do it consistently. I'm not saying I wouldn't like it or want to do it a lot, but I just don't think I'd actually be capable of making enough time. I mean, I'm really really set on I want to be a dad someday, which obviously makes it hard to do anything, especially something like hunting where you got to be out there all day. I'm probably going to have at least a 9 to 5 work schedule when I become an engineer. I got to go to college here soon, and engineering isn't a field that has like a minimal amount of workload, so I'll definitely be pretty busy. And then there's the whole, I got to do the other stuff I do here on the channel, assuming I continue that. I'm not saying I wouldn't like it. I'm not saying I wouldn't want to do it every once in a while, but I don't think I'll ever be like a hunter. I'll just be someone who goes hunting, because, you know, it takes a lot of time. You can contribute to that as much as anybody, I'm sure. I'll try it again. Nadio, something like that. I'm doing my best. But Nadio Gaming says, I deer hunt. That's awesome. Tie something to the bottom, maybe. Those are good suggestions. I'll do a little bit of experimentation with it here at some point, but I think for now, and just for time saving sake, I think I'm going to take it down and put it back where it was to begin with. Carter Gaming says, Merry Christmas. Says, my uncle died on October 29th. That's really unfortunate. Losing anybody is always really unfortunate. I hope you're doing well with that. I am a Christian. If you ever need anything, I'm always willing to pray for people. If not, that's okay too. I don't like to push my beliefs on anybody, but if you ever need prayer, let me know. If you like the bow and archery side of things, definitely could recommend a channel that does rural hunts. It's super interesting to see, says Donald Edwards. That does sound interesting. I also shoot slingshot. I have a whole video using like a shepherd sling like David in the Bible used when he fought Goliath. That's super fun too. Ozarks Woodsman says, I have tons of hunting stories. Awesome. How did you get saved, says Carter. Well, my family is all Christians. My mom and dad are. They didn't really grow up with it like I did, but I've always been going to church, and at some point, probably when I was about, let that car pass. At some point, probably when I was about 11 or 12, they said, hey, you can keep coming to church if you want, but you don't have to. It's your choice. And I decided to keep coming. And then once I made it my decision, instead of just going with my parents, I really started to explore it more and lean into it. Nerdio Gaming says, are you Christian? I am indeed. Ozarks Woodsman. I worked full-time out of state and have raised 3 children. You'll have plenty of time to hunt and fish. No worries, man. Trust me. Yeah, I believe you. I think my main thing is just like hunting consistently would be adding a whole nother thing to my plate. If it was something I already did, I'm sure I could make it work. But trying to add something like that and do it consistently. That's the big thing, is definitely tough. I'm not saying I wouldn't do it. I'm not saying I wouldn't do it occasionally. I just don't think it'll be, I hunt, multiple times a month or multiple times a week like I do fishing. I have a lot of respect for those that believe strongly in something and don't push their beliefs on others. Good on you, Nolan. Well, thank you, Brad. Do you know you get to heaven? Do you know you get heaven forever? I do know that, and that's what I believe. But hey, man, it's always good to make sure you're not pushy on it, because especially as Christians, we're called to be really respectful to people and really loving to everybody, even if we don't agree with them, which means you can't get angry at people and you can't try and force them to believe something. Everyone has a choice, and it's their choice to make. Have a good Christmas with your parents. I will. Well, that's awesome. I have a Hoyt, but I love the feel of Matthews. Donald is talking about bow companies. Because this bow was given to me by my grandfather, and at some point I want to kind of keep it safe, keep it secure, and not use it, especially because he is pretty old, and at some point, as unfortunate as it is, he will pass away, and I want to keep this as a memory. At some point, maybe in a year or two, I'm definitely going to look into purchasing a different recurve bow and then retire this one so I can keep it as a memory of my grandpa. He's still alive now, but you never know how long people have, as unfortunate as that is to say. Heck yeah, you just got to keep on keeping on. That's what matters the most, in my opinion. What kind of bow is that? So this is, I forget the brand. I think it's on here somewhere. Oh, okay. So it's a 60-inch, 40-pound bow. I forgot the brand name, but I remember the model name is a tartar, as in like tartar sauce. So you can probably find it. It's from the 1960s at some point. If you look up tartar vintage bow, you'll probably find what it is. Carter Gaming says, that's sad. It is indeed. I'm glad to have every second I can with my grandparents. They recently just moved to a couple minutes away. They used to live quite a ways away, about 40 minutes or so, but now they only live like 10 minutes away. So I get to see them multiple times a week, and it's super, super awesome. And I will cherish them for as long as they're here. And they've been super, super great people, super great role models. And it'll be sad when they pass away, but they were here for a reason, and they have done a really, really good job raising my mom and interacting with me. Nerdio Gaming is quoting some verses. Those are some good ones indeed. I recommend a Black Widow bow if or when you buy one. It'll last a lifetime and guaranteed lifetime warranty. I actually have heard of them before, and I've heard they're pretty good, so I'll make sure to look into that whenever that comes around. My grandfather died before I was born, but he was saved. That's first part's unfortunate. Second part is definitely super good to hear. All right. I'm going to stop chatting for just a minute. We're going to go down, take the target off the line, and reposition it back onto the tree. Let's see how that goes. Our viewership dropped back down again. We surged up to 10 or 12 people. Now we're back down to 3, but that's right. There's my house right there. Actually, that's my neighbor's house. That one's mine. But yeah, just the nice little plot of woods right near my house. Set up a little archery range, and it's super fun to be back here hanging out with you guys. All right, let's see if we can take this down here. Alright, we got the target off the line. As you can see, the arrows are popping through the back. Here's my shot placement on this one. It was hanging like this. So this is the one. This one is only about an inch or two off center, and that one still spun a decent bit. This was my first shot. That one's pretty far off center, and it spun like 3 times all the way around. And then there's that one. Just gonna hang it back up on the tree, and we'll get back to shooting some. All right. Ozark says it froze up for a second. Yeah, I don't know why, but when I walk down there, the connection isn't as good as when I'm out here. I have literally no idea why, but that makes sense. Never mind, I think it's my connection. I apologize. No problem. It could be mine, could be yours. I'll have to watch it back and see. And then maybe try and figure out why it does that. Only 2 people in here. Uh-oh. Phone's got 48%. It is 4:12. I'm gonna run this probably until the sun starts getting dim enough to where we can't see, and then I'll end it. So, where's my glove? I don't know where I put my glove. Hold on. Okay, it's right there. Well, while it's off, I can show you, I was talking about earlier, the glove isn't necessary. It just helps your fingers last a little bit longer and take a couple more shots before you get super tired. I'm gonna do one barehanded just to show you it can in fact be done for those of you who aren't familiar with archery. There you go. And it hit the target. My mom and I are nice. Awesome. I submitted, says Carter Gaming. Sorry about that. I imagine that means you subscribed. Do I have a chimney tree? I do have a chimney tree. Because I don't know what that means. If you're asking if I've got a chimney, I've got a chimney. If I've got a tree, I've got a tree. If I got a Christmas tree, I got all of it. So whatever you mean, I probably do have one. Ozark's Woodsman is looking for Ozark's guy. The Ozarks are searching for one another. All right, let's put the glove back on, take a couple more shots. It's getting cold. It's definitely colder than when I started the live. Do I wear earrings? I don't. I got no holes, and I got no earrings on. Interesting question. That's not one I ever thought I'd get, but no, I don't. Ooh, that one was very close to being a bullseye. Are they saved? Carter, I'm not sure what you're referring to. You might have to give me a little bit more info here. Ooh, I think that one got stuck into the tree when it went through. Only 2 people in here. That's okay. It goes up and down a lot on these vertical lives. When I do the horizontals, I get a lot more consistent viewership, but the numbers are typically a little bit lower. Julie, how's it going? Me and my brother, Carter says. Well, that's not something I can answer. I don't know you. So you'd have to, that's something between you and God to know whether you're saved. I can't tell you. Oh, bullseye. Bang, that was a good one. Julie, what are you and Mr. Justin up to lately? Another bullseye, 2 in a row. I'm excited about that. I'm knocking the rust off. Do I play Roblox? I don't, but I know some young people. I'm a camp counselor, and I know a lot of my campers play Roblox. So Nerio's putting John 336 in there. Awesome. As I was talking about earlier, for anyone just popping in, we were talking about my faith. I'm very strong in my faith, but I never like to push it on anybody. Just put my information out there, and everyone has the right to make their own decision. Oh, that was so close to 3 bullseyes in a row. Very close. For anyone just coming in, I was talking about earlier how currently I'm practicing my intuitive shooting, which is why I'm drawing back and releasing so quick. I'm mostly looking down the arrow and just kind of lining it up where it feels good instead of aiming with the tip of the arrow, which is called gap shooting. Sorry, but your old parents, I don't know what that means. How old are my parents? They're both in their early 50s. So they had me when they were pretty old, actually. They were in their mid-30s when they had me. And then they had my sister a couple years later. They were even older. What's your last name? I don't mind people who I know on YouTube knowing my last name, but that's not something I give out just freely. If I get to know you real good and you become more of a friend instead of just a viewer, I don't have a problem sharing that, but I don't give that out to just anybody. That was also close to a bullseye. Does my sister have a channel? No, she does not. She is a competitive gymnast and she is super busy doing that. She doesn't really do a ton other than a little bit of music and a little bit of art and a lot of gymnastics. That's pretty much all she does because she has a lot of practice. That's where she is right now. Carter says, I don't like my music teacher. That's okay. You don't have to. You still got to be nice to him, but you don't have to like him. Carter Gaming, that's a very random question about language. It's not necessary. I'm just going to take it out of there. I do not drink Prime, also a random question. I don't have a problem answering random questions. I'm just kind of curious as to why you're asking them. So that one was not a good shot. I still hit the target, but it was not a great shot. Who all is still in here? Let me know. Also not a great shot. Still hit the target. Carter says, my name is Carter. I could have guessed that, I think. I could have got that one. Don't be too silly there, Carter. I don't mind it, but we want to try and keep things focused and, random questions can get weird really fast. So make sure to try and stay on topic a little bit. I don't mind it. Can you pronounce my name in English? Just how I would say it, I guess. It would be Nerio, I guess. Nerio, something like that. Do you have more than one bow, says Carter Game. I do not. He also says, is she a Sally girly? I'm not sure what that means. I imagine you're referring to my sister. I don't know what that means, so I can't answer that question. There you go. Decent shot. Yes, the second one, Nerio. Okay. If that's how you want me to say it, perfect. Give me a wrench and I'll help with comments. Yeah, Ozark, so just all totally fine giving you a wrench, but just so you know, my general policy is if people are asking strange questions, kind of out of the blue questions, I'm okay with it as long as they're not spamming it, and then inappropriate stuff, then obviously that's not great either. If they keep asking the same question over and over again, just give them a timeout. You can do that as a mod. And if they're asking super random stuff super frequently, then go ahead and just give them a timeout. I don't really like banning people unless they're being really aggressive, really violent, or really rude to people. So just keep that in mind. You seem like you have good judgment, so I'm totally fine giving you a wrench. Boom. There you go. Rock and roll. So Carter Gaming, just so you know, that means be on your best behavior as far as throwing random chats in there. I don't mind it a ton, but Ozarks Woodsman has got the power now, so be aware. Okay, so that was a really bad shot. I was so quick on my release that I jumped a little bit. It missed the target by maybe an inch to the right. So that was a really good shot grouping, and then got a little bit distracted, and then had a miss right there at the end. You got to be locked in for every shot. So I guess that's what happens when you keep looking back at chat and then lose your flow. All right, let's go take a look at this grouping here, and then we'll see what we can do. Ozarks, let me know if the connection starts to falter down here again. If it does, then that's something to note, and we know it's definitely this spot and not your connection. Carter Gaming says, do you like your sister? Yeah, we get along really well, which is a really big blessing. She's just a couple years younger than me, and her and I both sing. I play the guitar and sing, and we often sing together and play the guitar. A lot of songs for church and stuff like that. We're doing a Christmas special together for church this year. It's super fun to not be annoyed at your sister, because I know a lot of people, a lot of siblings don't get along real well, but I'm super blessed to get along with my sister pretty well. Thank you, and let's have fun just watching and learning now. Can I sing JBR? I don't know what that is. I imagine that's some sort of musical artist, and I don't know who it is. I can't seem to remember where that arrow went that missed. I know it missed right here. I gotta go find that. Yeah, I'm not really sure where that went. Jingle Bell Rock. Yeah, I could. Where's your church? I want to come. Well, I have no idea where you are, Nario, but my church is in southeastern Pennsylvania. If you're anywhere near there, let me know, and I can let you know where my church is. If not, then I guess it isn't very relevant to you. Carter Gaming says, I subbed. Thank you so much. Working good so far, says Ozarks. Yeah, I don't know where that arrow that missed went. I don't know where it went. So I'm just going to leave it for now. I'm probably only going to run the live for 10-15 more minutes, and then I'll take a good look for it and the other one that we can't find afterwards, when I'm not tied down to chatting with you guys. Man, I'm in Canada. Yeah, no problem. That's why you ask. Can I have the wrench? Carter Gaming, I don't know you super well, and you seem to be young, so I'm going to hold off on that for now. If I get to know you a little bit better, then that's something I'd consider. I've been in plenty of lives with Ozarks Woodsman, and he's been watching the channel for a little bit of time now, so I know him a little bit better than I know you. How do you know? I don't know. I just don't know who you are. That's the main thing. if you're asking about how do I know that how old you are, I don't know how old you are exactly, but you were talking about Roblox, which is a pretty new thing. So therefore, I'm assuming, I could be wrong, but I'm assuming you're a little bit younger. I like this video, but it is cold. It is cold. It's in the 30s out here. Alrighty. Here it's -3, but feels like -11. Yeah, I mean, it's cold here. It's not quite that cold. Nario Gaming has it a little bit colder than I do. Alright, I think I'm going to do one more round of shots. And then we're going to call it for this live. And after I shut it off, I will go on the hunt for those arrows that are currently missing. I've really enjoyed talking to you guys. We've met some new people here in the live today. I always enjoy it. Nario Gaming says, I subscribed. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I love interacting with new people. Sorry about that. And seeing the different dynamic. Hey, can you get the wine? I can't get wine. I'm not old enough to get wine, and I'm not someone who's inclined to drink alcohol anyway. It's not something I'm interested in. I'm gonna take that chat out of there, if you don't mind, so that way we don't start some strange conversations. Carter says I'm 10. Yeah, so you are a little bit young. Not a problem. Everybody has, there's good things with every single age. Enjoy being 10. There's a lot of good things about 10 that I wish I could go back to. Enjoy it while it's there. Can you stop at 6 p.m.? Is that 6 p.m. your time? Which would be 5 p.m. my time? Because I think you had a chat in there earlier about timing. So if that's true, it's like 5:28 for you. Nario says I am 22. Awesome. Yeah. So I'm in between Carter and Nario. Oh, I missed again. I had a lot of string slap on that one. I think my jacket kind of threw that off ever so slightly. Carter is going on timeout. Yep, just stick him on a 2-minute timeout, something like that. Not a problem. Not a problem, Ozarks Woodsman. Everybody could use a little bit of a timeout here and then, just to get their head in the right space. Ooh, very close to a bullseye. It might be in. I'm not sure. Can you shoot straight up in the air and then catch the arrow? Not going to do that. That seems just the wee slightest bit dangerous. Yeah, if you'd want to see something like that, this is not the channel for that. We like to have fun, but we like to generally try and stay safe. There's definitely some adventurous people out there who probably have done something like that. Ozarks Woodsman, not a bad idea either. Especially on these vertical lives, you get a lot of people in here who are just in there to kind of stir the pot a little bit. Not necessarily bad people, but people who, you know, aren't actually interested in watching the live. They just like to see what's going on. So giving those people a little bit of time to think about themselves is never a bad idea. Oh man, that was terrible. That would have been a bad shot anyway, because my finger was pressing on the knock of the arrow down here. That wouldn't have been a great shot. There you go. Lots of string slap on that one because I'm still turned this way. I need to be about like this. I said it earlier, but I'm not implementing it very well because I'm still talking to the chat. 7 people in here. Thank you, guys. All right, let's get a good one where I'm actually turned the right way. There you go. No string slap. He got timed out as well. I did see that. Yeah, not a problem. I don't have a problem with that. Generally, I try and make sure all my moderators know this. I like the timeout feature a lot more than the remove from the channel or hide from the channel feature, just because everybody makes mistakes and I don't like to kick people out on their first offense. If it's something they do all the time, that's a different story. But Nario says your shots are great. I appreciate it. This is why we practice. We're getting better as the night goes on. Actually, usually how it goes for me is my first couple shots are pretty bad, and then I get better and better, and like the second round of shots I do is really good, which is what happened today, and then I start to kind of slowly fall back off again. Which, the trend for today is no different. Ozarks Woodsman is on top of it. That one was high, but it was very centered. Yeah, I don't mind a little bit of divergence from the subject just so people get to know me a little bit better and get to know each other a little bit better, but when we go super off the rails, it's never fun. Bullseye. 3 more arrows, and then I'm probably going to call it a day for the live. Unfortunately, it's at that time of the year where the sun sets pretty early. I think the sun, what time is it? The sun's going to set in like 6 minutes or something like that. We'll have a little bit more light after the sun actually sets, but the sun is not too far from setting, which is kind of sad, but how it goes. I guess that's why they put Christmas around this time. Not really, mostly a joke, but if Christmas wasn't around this time of the year, I think people would be a lot more sad than they are, because it gets dark so quick. That one was off to the left. My toes are getting cold. I should have worn my boots, but I've just got normal sneakers on, so my toes are feeling the wind through there. Ozarks Woodsman says, I'm really enjoying this video. You're doing very good. I appreciate it. I try my best. Especially lives are really tough to do because you get new people in there and you don't have time to think about how you're going to respond to comments that maybe are a little bit confusing or are a little bit disrespectful, whatever it may be. So you have to be quick on your feet and learn how to respond to that in a very calm way. And I think I'm doing better than when I started. And it translates just having normal conversations with people as well. And it's a really fun experience to get to know people more, like kind of intimately, more up close and personal, because you're really having a live conversation even though they're not there. So I do enjoy it, but it comes with its challenges. I'm going to leave. Bye. No problem, Nario Gaming. I appreciated having you. Thanks for stopping in. Not going to miss much. We got a couple more shots and then maybe a minute or two after that, and then we're going to shut it down. There you go. That one was close to a bullseye as well. How long is Carter in timeout? I believe he was in for 300 seconds, if I'm correct, which was 5 minutes. I don't know why it shows up as seconds, but I think it's 5 minutes, if I remember correctly. Boom. That one's also super close to a bullseye. I think it didn't hit, but it was pretty close. That's going to be our last shot for the day. That was a good little grouping there. Let's go check that out, and then we'll call it for this live. I appreciated having you. All right. Nario says, okay, thank you. Thanks for stopping in. You were fun to have. So this was a pretty random grouping. Carter says that was my brother. Well, not a problem. Just maybe be a little bit more conscious of who you give the phone to, so that way they're respectful and you don't get timed out for it. Not a problem. We're glad to have you back. Just make sure that we keep everything kind of focused and don't go off in random tangents as much. Not a problem. Everyone makes mistakes, but try and improve on it. All right, so our grouping on this one was pretty random, which is never great, but I hit the target on all of them. It's a lot easier to have a random grouping when doing intuitive shooting. It's a lot easier to intuitive shoot quickly, as I was talking about earlier, but it can lead to some groupings that look like this. I was all over the place on this. Yeah, one in the bullseye, couple right around it. So this one was pretty much dead center in the bullseye. That was a good shot. Zan versus Wild. What did Carter do? Carter didn't do anything necessarily wrong. He was just filling up the chat with some random comments. And we like to try and keep it focused, so that way it's easier for me to read all the comments, and I can, make sure that I have a good flow while doing the live here. Carter Gaming, do you like the bow? I do indeed like the bow. It's a pretty good little one. It's pretty old, but it still works, and it was a good gift. Carter Gaming, I already told you earlier, we're not going to be requesting to bring any family members on here. If they show up, that's great, but we're not going to be requesting for any of that, because a lot of times when people do that, they're trying to be a little bit weird. So I know you're a little bit younger, and that's okay, but make sure you listen and try and be respectful when I say stuff like that. Carter says, sorry, not a problem. Just make sure you keep listening and keep being respectful, especially in people's channels. Stuart says, who is Carter? Stuart is a good friend of mine. Carter is new to the channel. He's a young guy. Don't worry about him, Stuart. He was recently timed out for making some random off-topic comments and loading the chat with him, but I'm willing to let him back in here and see if he can learn from his mistakes. Not a problem. Everyone makes mistakes, and I'm not here to try and down on his subject, or down on his day. Not a subject. I saw Ozark's comment coming up with the word subject in it as I said that, so my brain got a little wacky. Ozark's Woodsman is correct. It's not even close to the subject. I'm pretty patient, but I do have some mods in here in Ozark's and Stuart who are a little bit older, and they're not as patient as I am, so make sure you're wary there and respectful. Carter says, I like your coat. I do actually like this coat. That is actually a good comment. That's a good one, Carter. Keep it going. I actually do really like this coat. It's not like super heavy, but it keeps me really warm. And it's this nice green color, which I really like. I got it last year, but I really didn't wear it at all. And yeah, I'm gonna wear it a lot this winter. I really like it. It's like nylon-y material, so it kind of sheds water on the outside, and it's like this puffy, softer stuff on the inside. It's a pretty good little coat. I enjoy it. Do you like deer meat? I've had it very minimal times, but it is good. I do enjoy some good venison. Stuart says, I got the patience of a saint. Yep. Stuart has had lots of experiences with people on YouTube not being the most respectful, and I'd say he's been more patient than a lot of people would have been. Carter, I'm gonna put you in timeout for another minute. We've already discussed that subject isn't something we're talking about, because that's what I said. If you come onto my channel, you gotta be respectful of the things that I ask out of the chat. So we're gonna put you in timeout. I'm not mad. Just be aware, if you keep doing that, that's gonna be something that's a problem. Alrighty. I'm gonna bring you guys back over here. I'm sure you guys can tell it's getting a little bit dim now. I've appreciated meeting some new faces, seeing some new faces, and meeting some new people. That's what I meant. Had a good little practice session. Not my best, but as I said earlier, got my wisdom teeth out, have been laid up for a little while, and haven't got a ton of practice time recently. So it's good to get back out here, get back in the swing of things. And I'm glad that you guys could join me for it. Just a few things before we close. At the very end of the year, as I said earlier, I'll put up a poll about it, more than likely. I'm going to have a video releasing on either the... Hold on, give me a moment here. Ozark says, I've got the patience of a crusader. Yep. I will go deal with Carter in a little bit, but I just hid him for the moment. There you go, Stuart. All right, back to the subject. On either the 30th of December or the 1st of January, I'll kind of poll some of my subscribers about what they would prefer. I have a video coming out about brook trout. It is honestly possibly my favorite video I've ever done. I'm super, super excited for it. I think it'll be super fun, and I'm going to premiere that. So I'm going to figure out when I'm going to put that. If I have time to get it filmed and edited, I'm going to try and do an EDC video in the interim. But I know I'm going to have that one coming out. Got a couple more shorts to come out, and then we hit the new year, and we're going to do some more fun stuff. Once the new year comes around, I've got some multi-species madness stuff that I filmed this summer that I'm going to put out, and I'm hopefully going to be able to fire that natural clay pot that I dug up from a lake and did for a bushcraft video. Hopefully I can fire that and get that video finished and put out for you guys sometime in the new year. I'm probably going to try and do a live the day after or 2 days after Christmas as well. Talk about some of the new equipment that I got, some of the stuff I'm going to do with it, and just talk about just some random stuff, just kind of hang out, probably be an indoor live, and because I'm off, so why not do it live? But other than that, I'm not sure the plans I have imminently. Just kind of wanted to get you guys a little bit of information on what I plan to do here. Hopefully some of that stuff sounds exciting to you. But with that, I'm going to head out here. I got a couple chats to read, and then I'm going to close down the live. I really appreciate you guys coming in. Ozark saying he is the patience of a crusader. I like that. That's good. Stuart says, Carter, I will let you in some knowledge. I mod over 160 YouTube channels and managing mod for some. Please respect Nolan. That's right. Respect is really important. You don't have to, if you don't like what someone's asking you to do in their live, then just leave the live. It's not that hard. Respect's always important. You don't have to like everybody, but you have to have patience with people, and you have to be kind to people. Brad says, newsflash, lake is still frozen. Unfortunate. I assume that means it's frozen to the point to where you can't fish, but you also can't ice fish, which is always the worst feeling, and it is kind of disappointing. Ozark says, subbed to your channel, Stuart. Yeah, Stuart is a good stand-up guy. He does a lot of lives, and he's very active in this type of outdoor community. yeah, he's a good dude. Unfortunately, Stewart's had some untrue accusations brought up against him that he's been dealing with, and you know, when he has people who are kind to him and stuff, it's really encouraging, and I can speak on his behalf. He's a good dude. So all the crap that comes out about him that isn't true, and if you actually looked into it, you just be like, oh, that's not true. It's not true. Stewart's a really good dude. He's a good guy to be around. Brad says correct. So no ice fishing and no open water fishing. That's always the worst time of the year to try and have fun doing some fishing. So sorry about that, Brad. All right, well, with that, it is definitely getting a little bit dim. The camera's actually doing a really good job of keeping the lighting good, but it's definitely getting a little bit dim and a little bit cold. So I'm going to cut this live off, pick up, see if I can find those arrows, get my stuff inside, and yeah, I got some homework to do, unfortunately, and I'm going to do a little bit of music practice as well. So I'm going to get to that. Hope you guys enjoy your day and have a good one. Thank you for sharing your day with us, young man. Not a problem. Thanks for having me, Ozarks. Thanks for watching. And Stuart says, and the problem is Brad has no boat to get to open water. Oh, man. Sorry about that, Brad. I'll see you guys later. Have a good one. See ya.